Okay, so now IMA understands that ethical principles are important. All right. So IMA wants all the members in the sense not only CMAs but anybody who is a member for IMA. Now you guys are members for IMA, right? You guys are not CMAs, but you guys are actually members for IMA. So you also has to be understanding these IMA's principles on ethics, right? So IMA has four principles for ethics, and it has also four standards for ethics. So oftentimes you get confused with what is the principles, what are the standards. So therefore we have a mnemonic to understand that, to remember what are the principles, what comes under principles, and what comes under standards. So the principles can be remembered by a mnemonic called H4. Okay, here H stands for honesty, F stands for fairness, O stands for objectivity, R stands for responsibility, right? So IMA wants the members to be honest, fair in your dealings, to be having an objectivity, which means unbiased thoughts, okay, and responsibility. That's what IMA's four principles. So to remember that, you could use the mnemonic H4: honesty, fairness, objectivity, and responsibility. Okay, uh, and then the we have to get into the four standards. Okay, IMA also has got four standards. What are the four standards? IMA's four standards. IMA's statement of ethical professional practice can be understood or can be remembered by the mnemonic called CCIC. What is C? Competence. What is the second C? Confidentiality. What is I? Integrity. What is C? Credibility. Okay, so CCIC: competence, confidentiality, integrity, and credibility. Okay, so IMA wants the members to be competent. Okay, what does competence means? You got to be knowledgeable. Okay, let's say you being a finance professional, IMA wants you to upgrade yourself on thoughts, update yourself on new accounting you know uh, standards that comes up very often, right? uh, to update yourself on those new streams of business, right? um, so that's the reason IMA wants you to take up certain CPEs, continuing professional educations, to be done, to attend those many number of seminars, webinars, all that. Okay, competence to deliver uh, your work properly, okay, with credibility. That's what his competence is. Confidentiality means what? Let's say you become a CMA, you might be working for a company as a controller, let's say, and by virtue of your position, sometimes you can get information that are not known to the others because of your position, right? Maybe that is critical to the entity, right? Those are secrets that you would know, which the others are not knowing. What's your responsibility? You are responsible to keep it confidential to you, or only speak it out to someone whom you think that he has to know this. Okay, um, not everybody and anybody, right? You cannot really share those companies' confidential information to everybody. You have to keep the confidentiality. Maybe you're working for other clients, or maybe you're in the audit, or wherever you are. You're not supposed to, uh, you know, uh, uh, share the confidential information of other clients. That's the second standard. Third is integrity. Okay, B. Now, this integrity principle is actually not only for you as a finance professionals. Integrity has to be there for everyone. Okay, everyone. Human beings are supposed to be having integrity, right? So, be business world is not different. Okay, you should have integrity. Okay, credibility. What is credibility? The fourth standard of IMA. Credibility means, uh, bringing quality work. How do you bring quality work? Uh, let's say that if you are not aware about a particular stuff, you should actually disclose that to the client. Say that someone calls you for a tax job. You may not be expert in tax, so you should talk to the client. You should tell them that we lack certain information here, or we lack certain expertism here, so I would rather not do that. Okay, that's where you're bringing credibility, and whatever work you do should be with credibility. Okay, you cannot do things in haste and make work looks very ugly work. You cannot really do that. Whatever work that you take up has to be with the quality, right? People should understand this is a CMA's work. That's what his credibility means. So you understood what are the four standards, and what are the four uh, principles of IMA. So oftentimes you get questions like, uh, you know, what are principles, what are standards? Okay, let's go over competence again. Maintain professional expertise by continuously developing knowledge and skills. Comply with relevant laws, regulations, and technical standards. Provide timely, accurate, clear, and concise decision support information and recommendations. Recognize and communicate professional limitations or other constraints that would preclude responsible judgment and successful performance of the activity. That's what his competence is. Confidentiality is what? Keep information confidential except when disclosures are authorized or legally required. So sometimes, courts will ask you to, speak certain informations. You will have to disclose that. Okay, you cannot really say that, we have accountant client privilege. There's nothing called an accountant client privilege, just like the attorney client privilege, right? Attorneys have that. We do not have that. So if the authorities are calling us, you will have to disclose, right? But not to anybody else. Inform all relevant parties regarding appropriate use of confidential information. Monitor subordinates' activities to ensure compliance. So if you're sending certain things, okay, you will only send um, those things to only the appropriate persons. Okay, if something needs a confidential, routing, you would inform that, right? You would also monitor your staff whether they are ensuring compliance with confidentiality. Refrain from using confidential information for unethical or illegal advantage. You might come across with certain information that can make you money, but you should refrain from these kind of unethical actions. Integrity. Mitigate actual conflicts of interest by continuously communicating with business associates to avoid apparent conflicts of interest. Refrain from engaging in any conduct that would prejudice carrying out duties ethically. Abstain from engaging in or supporting any activity that might discredit the profession. So that's what is integrity. That you cannot discredit your profession as a CMA, right? Last one of the standards is credibility. Communicate information fairly and objectively. Disclose all relevant information that could reasonably be expected to influence unintended users' understanding of the report's analysis or recommendations. Disclose delays and deficiencies of information, timeliness, processing, or internal controls in conformance with the organization policy and applicable law. So if you cannot finish a job in time, which was expected, you should probably disclose these delays. You should speak it out. You cannot do things like in haste and make a mess out of this, right? That's what his credibility means. Now, sometimes you might have a conflict of interest because you have a fiduciary responsibility, right? So you might have a conflict of interest. What is a conflict of interest? Let's say because of your position, you are sitting as a controller. So you come across a certain opportunity wherein you can make money uh, in which your company, your entity also had an interest. What should you do? You should leave your interest and leave way to the company. Okay, because you're acting as an agent for the company. You cannot take undue benefits. Okay, you cannot make profits for yourself when you're actually working for an entity. If the entity has an interest, that's what is managing conflicts of interest means. Okay, so how do you actually um, handle conflicts of interest? When you have a written code of conduct, basically that paves the way for a foundation of code of conduct, right? Ethical behavior in the company, okay, and require prior notification for any transaction that may raise questions about possible conflicts of interest. So, if you have any conflict of interest, for example, if you happen to be, we are talking about finance professionals. So, auditors, if they have if they are asked to be a part of the engagement team, and if they have certain interest in that company, let's say auditor's wife works as a finance professional, as a CFO of the client. Of course, I have to notify the audit manager saying that I'm not independent, I cannot do this, right? That's what is handling conflicts of interest. Prohibit financial ties with any supplier, customers, or distributors, right? You shouldn't have uh, financial ties. You should not have any kind of relationship with your customers, suppliers, or distributors. Okay, do not accept any gifts, favors, okay, hospitality, or those kind of things. That will, help you not to have a conflict of interest. Okay, so those are very, very important. Now, let's say you come across a conflict of interest, all right, or you can come across uh, an ethical dilemma, right, wherein you do not know what to do, right? What are you supposed to do? Now, IMA says, okay, the first step is what? You should follow the policies of the entity. Okay, if there is a code of ethics, written code of ethics for the entity, you should follow that. Okay, now if that is not there, what you have to do, you should actually go to one level to the management. Let's say your supervisor is a part of the whole scam. Okay, there is a scam going on, there is something unethical behavior is going on, and you happen to see that your supervisor is also involved. Then you should go to his supervisor and escalate this matter to him. So you should actually go up the ladder to the next level of management to resolve the issue. Okay, that's the second step. Now, what is the third step? Often, IMA has a hotline to deal with the ethical dilemmas. So, as a member of IMA, you could call up uh, ethical hotline of IMA and speak it out. Right? Probably they should be able to help you. Now, what's the fourth step? Fourth step is what? You should actually consult with your lawyer. Okay, oftentimes, reporting something of the entity or any other persons could be dangerous, right? So you could have um, been a part of certain retaliations from those people. on whom you're reporting, right? So therefore, you should see what are the provisions available to you. Check with your lawyer, right? Check with your lawyer and see what are the provisions available to you, right? So what are the implications of the what are the recommendations of the lawyer to you, right? Um, if nothing works out, what to do? Next is to you know, resign. Okay, at least not be a part of the ethical conflicts, right? Just be away from that. Okay, uh, those are the steps. So what are the first step? Follow the organization policies. Second is what? Report one level up. Third is what? Try out IMA's hotline. Fourth is consult with your legal counsel or lawyers. Fifth is, if nothing works out, resign. Okay, these are the provisions that is available to you. So that's about the second part of ethics. Okay, ethics for uh, finance